Okay, I just finished watching the Sarah Palin on Oprah Winfrey show interview, and I basically wanted to comment on what I thought of the interview. Now, before I start, what I'd like to say to all those people out there who had been calling Oprah a racist, thanks to the fact that Fox News was taunting Oprah Winfrey for not interviewing Sarah Palin. Number one, Oprah originally stated that the Palin campaign never actually contacted her to put Sarah Palin on. And second of all, Oprah Winfrey stated that because she had already endorsed Obama long before we even knew who the fuck Sarah Palin was, basically she thought it would be disingenuous to bring on of course, the opponent of Barack Obama after she endorsed him. So frankly, I applaud Oprah for that. And to those people who are calling Oprah a racist simply because she's a black liberal who has more power and more money than you ever will, I'd just like to say you're all a bunch of morons, and you can cry about it. Because as far as I'm concerned, the Palin presidency possibility is never ever going to happen. In fact, I'll say it like this: I actually hope Sarah Palin runs in 2012, because frankly I want to see Obama basically win 57% to whatever the remaining percentage is, if it's not split up by an independent runner too. Because the simple fact is, Obama is a polarizing person for numerous reasons. The fact, one, he's black, two, he's a liberal, and there's other individual reasons. But yes, Obama is a polarizing person, but Sarah Palin is an even more polarizing person. And the vast majority of America is not voting for her. So for all those people who like to mention her bullshit approval rating of 80% when she left office as governor, one thing I'd like to say is that, frankly, I don't think I could ever vote for somebody who couldn't even finish in office in the first place and finish out a full term. But I suppose the reason for that is because she was facing indictment over her misuse of power, as they called it. And I think the interesting thing about that is that, people like Limbaugh, people like Hannity were talking about all this executive experience that Sarah Palin had that, Barack Obama didn't have, when the election was running. Now look, now Obama's been president for almost a year, and you have this woman who couldn't even stay governor for a full term. So let me ask you this: who has more executive experience now? Who has more experience being president? Well, I'm pretty sure that the person with the majority of the executive experience is probably Barack Obama. Now, as for this interview with Oprah Winfrey, well, Oprah Winfrey sure didn't try to hit her with those quote-unquote trapdoor questions that Sarah Palin was too moronic to answer, such as, what newspaper do you read? And that was a really tough question, yeah. But apparently it's a trapdoor question if Katie Couric asked it, because Katie Couric has a left-wing liberal agenda by asking you, what newspaper do you read? Here, how about you ask me, what newspaper do I read? I read the Daily News, and I seldomly read the New York Times, but I read the Daily News, the New York Daily News. See, that wasn't such a hard question, and I wasn't even expecting myself to ask that question to myself. But yeah, but it's a trapdoor question because I asked myself a question and I have a liberal propaganda agenda. Oh my God, what a bunch of bullshit. As far as I'm concerned, Sarah Palin will never, ever come within inches of the Oval Office unless she's invited there by Obama and Michelle Obama as a guest. So anybody out there, all you soccer moms, or as Bill Maher likes to call you, honky moms, you can just forget it because it's just not going to happen. This woman is absolute trash. Now, some people like to say, oh, the liberals are scared of her because she's beautiful and intelligent, because she's governor and she has all this executive experience. The simple fact of the matter is, we already know that's bullshit, simply because she couldn't even finish out a term. But as far as I'm concerned, this woman is trash, not only because we already know where she comes from, they're not used to much up there in Alaska. Not only because she has tried to play up the fact that she's governor of a state that's got less people than I would see if I walked in one direction for 1 mile. She only has 700,000 people in Alaska. If I walk in any direction for 1 mile, I'll run into 1 million people. Period. So, as far as I'm concerned, you can play her up all you want, but you're not fooling anybody. So without actually attacking her, or trying not to attack her, because it's really damned hard. But let me just say it like this. This woman will never ever be president, and as far as this interview goes, I think it was a fair and balanced interview, or at least it was just as fair and balanced as what I saw when Sean Hannity interviewed Oprah. But one thing I liked about Oprah's interview was that Oprah actually asked her flat out, well, why did you quit as governor? And of course, Palin, all throughout the interview, Palin was trying to put it all on somebody else. And that's not something I consider in a leader. Basically, when I say put it on someone else, Sarah was trying to say, oh, well, the McCain campaign wouldn't let me speak, and they wouldn't let me speak my mind, and they kept on giving me all these narrated information that they wanted me to read. So you mean to tell me that here you are, you're supposed to be this beautiful, intelligent governor, and you're supposed to have all this executive experience, but you mean to tell me you have to rely on somebody to write all your cue cards for you, and you can't ever improv at all? And I know the first thing somebody's going to say is, yeah, well, Obama reads a teleprompter, but the truth of the matter is, when we see Obama give interviews by himself, one thing that you should understand about Obama that's different than Sarah Palin is Obama is a lawyer, and he's a self-made lawyer. I mean, yeah, he had help along the way, but the truth of the matter is he's a lawyer. That's why he doesn't get rattled. That's why when these morons are protesting in front of the White House and calling him a Nazi, and in the same breath calling him a fascist and a socialist, he doesn't get rattled because he is used to that type of attack. If you've ever seen what it's like in a courtroom, you'd understand that lawyers don't get rattled that easily, and they always think before they speak, which is something that poor Sarah Palin does not do. She does not think before she speaks. In fact, she seems to ramble on and ramble on about absolutely nothing. But I think the worst thing of all is the fact that as an American, I have to recognize that a large amount of people did vote for Sarah Palin. And no, they did not vote for McCain. The problem with McCain was seen as too liberal, and he was seen as a little too dead. He was seen as somebody who, really didn't rally the conservative base. Basically, he, was too liberal. That's what people say. But the truth of the matter is, Sarah Palin did rattle up the conservative base. The only problem is that when she did, it allowed the rest of the world to see exactly what the conservative base was. The sad truth of the matter is the Republican Party is filled with basically white Christian neoconservatives, and they're mixed with a couple of racists in there somewhere. They're also mixed with basically anybody who's actually bought into the lie that free market economy with, absolutely no checks and balances and no government intervention of any kind. People have actually bought into that absolute bullshit, because the truth of the matter is this country is going to go down for free market economy. The mere fact of the matter is we've got other countries out there like China who have nothing but slave labor to throw at us. And these corporations will gladly take every single job out of this country and give it away. So while Sarah Palin was up there talking to her conservative base of coal miners and deer hunters and all this bullshit, filled with people who right now are hurting because they're out of a job, and a lot of them were out of a job before, during the Bush administration, before Obama took over. Sad truth of the matter is, a lot of these people aren't intelligent enough to see through all the bullshit. Me personally, I see through all the bullshit, and a lot of people are going to accuse me of being an Obama bot. Truth of the matter is, even though I voted for Obama, mostly because I was voting against Sarah Palin, but even though I voted for Obama, I've known for a very long time that this country has been on the wrong path. This country has been undermined by bankers and multinational corporations. This country has been undermined by people outside of the country who run these mega corporations who don't give a fuck about an American job. And this country has been so undermined for so long that suddenly we've woken up and we've realized, guess what? We're fucked. We're fucked because we don't have jobs, we're not producing anything anymore, and we don't know what to do. So basically, when people voted for change, they weren't just voting for the color of the guy's skin. They were voting for somebody who was going to get them some jobs. Truth of the matter is, Obama can't wave a magic wand and get jobs. So no, I'm not an Obama bot, but what I am is a person who recognizes bullshit when I see it. And when it came down to Obama's bullshit versus Sarah Palin's bullshit, I had to err on the side of Obama's bullshit, because The truth be told, Sarah Palin's 15 minutes of fame were over months ago.